Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And I have been watching, not The Sopranos, in many states in Newark, a Sopranos story. It's basically The Sopranos, okay? It's The Sopranos. And boy, if I miss The Sopranos. You know why I miss The Sopranos? Because it's very, very, very good. Which is how I would describe this. Look, you want my instant review? Do you like The Sopranos? If you do, you're gonna. I assume you're gonna like this. I can't imagine that you wouldn't like it. Well, who knows? None so queer as folk. But anyway, so this is my review of the Many Saints of New York. Just came out the other day. I actually renewed my subscription to HBO Max mainly for this, also for Dune. You know, I went to see what was it? Not Die Another Day. The other one, No Time to Die. The James Bond movie in the theater on Friday. First time I've been to a cinema in a couple of years. Yeah, man, I am so much happier watching stuff at home. I got a big 60-inch screen. I can stop. I can go to the bathroom. I can get things to it. I like watching things at home now. Okay. So yeah, look, Dune. Sorry, mate. I'm going to watch it at home. Sopranos. I watched it at home, and I think really it's the best place for it. I understand that David Chase is upset. He wants everybody to go to cinema to it. Mate, that's over. My overwhelming response of going to the cinema on Friday is the cinema industry is over. I went to a mall that used to be like packed, constantly packed. It was deserted. Half the things there were closed. I was in a 600-seat theater with 12 other people. It's over. It ain't coming back, okay? It is not coming back. So this is the way of the future. I think. Listen, if you like going to cinema, enjoy it while you can. It's going to turn into vinyl. Fine. So again, like, share, subscribe, all those things are good. Comment. Let me know what you think. That the algorithm loves your comment. If you're not subscribed, if you can consider hitting the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, make sure you still are, because YouTube will unsubscribe you quite unscrupulously. You know. Quite unscrupulously, I think that's the description of this movie. Quite unscrupulously. So essentially, it's 2 episodes of The Sopranos put together. That's what it feels like. It's 2 hours long. My only real criticism is I could have used it being a 10-hour series, right? I just wanted more of it because it's very, very good. I do hope they do more of these. The James Gandolfini's kid, who isn't in it as much as you think he's going to be, is fantastic. Just more, please. It's for again. There's a lot to mind. Really, how this movie left me is wishing I had a coffee table book about The Sopranos so I could look up all the family lore and history, because I know there's things they've talked about before. I know the things they've described before in The Sopranos that we're seeing. I'm just not that much of a super fan, so I can remember. It's not like Doctor Who, where I can remember something that happened in like 1974. You know, it's like I can remember this. I can't. I have to have some kind of reference book. I apologize. So what is this movie? If you ever seen Sopranos before, is it worth seeing? Yeah, I would say so. I think, again, it's a solid, good gangster movie. But if you've seen Sopranos, you're going to like it a lot more. So let me pull up some visual aids so you can know. So the story is the story of Dickie Montesante. Dickie Montesante is the father, again, if you're into Sopranos, of Christopher Montesante, who was a major character in The Sopranos. So it starts with brilliantly and cleverly, which is how I would describe most of Sopranos. Brilliant and clever. So it opens brilliantly and cleverly. It goes across a cemetery, and as you're going across the cemetery, you hear the dead people in the graves telling you their story. You're like one person, and yeah, they phase one to another, and eventually it comes up to this guy, Christopher Montesante's grave, and he narrates the beginning of the story. So again, if you don't know Sopranos, I'm going to spoil this for you like hell. Well, unfortunately, Christopher Montesante was one of the major characters in it. The Sopranos is a gangster show about Tony Soprano, the head of a New Jersey crime mob, and his small crew. One of them included Chrissy Montesante. Chrissy Montesante was the son of this guy. What's his name again? Dickie Montesante. Is it Dickie Montesante? Was that his father? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Dickie Montesante. And he was a major character. He was Tony Soprano, the main character of The Sopranos. like protege. It was he was very very close to this person growing up, and he always like felt very bonded to his son for that reason. So it was a bit surprising the fight. Okay, again, spoilers. If you haven't seen Sopranos 20 years ago, it was a bit surprising the final season when they get into a car crash. And there's some kind of minor revelation about wrongdoing that Chris has been doing. He was into heroin a lot throughout the show, and he said, "I can't have a blood test because I've been using." So, and they're both like unconscious, like upside down in a just crashed car. And so Tony then reaches over, puts his hand over the nose and mouth of Chrissy and chokes him to death because he just doesn't want to deal with it. It's just inconvenient, and that's essentially what. And that's the story you hear, kind of from Chris's point of view. As a voiceover, he talks about Tony like Tony killed him, which is interesting because the story, this story is really a Tony Soprano story, as is the entire Sopranos. Everything's from the viewpoint of Tony Soprano. So this is Dickie Montesanti with Tony Soprano, young Tony Soprano, played by Michael Gandolfini. I last saw him in, what was it, what was that show, The Deuce, which I thought was really quite good, about the birth of the porn industry in America. He's fantastic. He is absolutely fantastic, and you get to see about their close relation. So this, but yeah, and then pulling back, it's more like you get to see another chapter in the Sopranos family history, which I think makes it compelling. The other thing that really makes this compelling is the realism of the motivations of all the people within it, which really do ring true, incredibly true, incredibly honest, which is one of the reasons I love the show. So yeah, so basically we get to see these people in the early 70s, late 60s. So that's Tony's father. We only saw him in flashback. That's Liv Soprano. Uncle Junior, but yeah, and that's kind of fun. You see like characters younger in a different setting. So the story starts off with young Tony Soprano, who is in it for the first hour, very young, totally like this. He can't. I don't have a picture of his face, unfortunately, but he's pretty good, like a 12-year-old Tony. He's going to the docks to meet with Dickie to meet his father, played by Ray Loretta, who's freaking awesome. Absolutely awesome. And in tow, he has this, as you can see, absolutely gorgeous new bride. What's her name? What's her name again? Giuseppina Moltesani, played by Michela De Rossi. Freaking smoking. I mean, just smoking beyond, as you can see, smoking beyond. She is so hot. And you get an insight into his family life, like how kind of a disgusting beast Ray Loretta is. Yeah, all these people are mobsters. All of them are like made men. And there's a great scene early on where his father comes home with his new bride, and Dickie's in his bedroom trying to sleep while his father very loudly has sex with very loudly and it sounds kind of unhealthily has sex with his new bride. You just hear like this, like in the back, like it wasn't very good. Okay, both these people are absolutely fantastic in it. So basically you just get to see a bit of their lives in the 60s. And then the thing, a piece of sheer brilliance is it intersects with the race riots in the late 60s, with the, not emancipation, what am I thinking about? The civil rights movement. And you see racism on a ground level, real racism, genuine racism, as it was at the time. And it's, for once, it's not done as a nod and a wink to camera and said, yeah, nothing's changed, has it? No, it's done in a realistic way, and you see quite how much everything has changed. So, this is like a major plot point in the beginning. Like, he's Dickie Montesano's driving into Harlem, I think, right? And gets hit by a can or something. He goes out to to break some skulls, find out, and then his car's surrounded by a bunch of people, and he has to he drives out there, and he goes over to the Sopranos. And says, "Look what's happening!" He opens the door, and they see the city, they see the fire, they see the race riots. So this is a major theme of the movie, because again, you get to see how it happened, why it happens, and the reality of it happening, and the reality of racism. Right, so Dickie has a black guy working for him, not for much longer after these race riots, because they're pretty darn racist. They get the race riots make people pretty darn racist. So he has to let him go, and that causes a major point of dramatic tension that goes throughout the movie. As the guy lets go tries to find civil rights in being able to be a gangster too. So that's going on. About halfway through the movie, I'm not going to spoil it. There's a major plot point happens, and you really get to see the character of Dickie. This is really the fascinating thing, because it's a three-dimensional image of a person, which again, something I absolutely love. So you get to see this insane violence, this insane hair trigger violence with literally deadly consequences in a very, very shocking way. And I know it's hard to be shocked, but it's not violent shock. It's actually the subject matter of what's happening. There's two really really shocking moments that kind of shook me. Shocking that shook me throughout this, revolving around the character. Again, when you see there's real depth of violence, but also about halfway through the movie, Ray Liotta takes on a double role as, I assume, his twin brother. I wasn't sure if it was the same character. So this guy's been in prison for the last 25 years, and he's been kind of the black sheep of the family. He killed a made guy, and he's like, "Listen, I'm in prison. I killed a made guy. It's all right. That's where I'm supposed to be." But he ends up becoming an advisor to Dickie, and they have an interesting relationship, and he knows exactly what's going on with him completely. And it's again very interesting. But within his conversation, he talks about the meritorious things that he does. Like he coaches blind baseball, right? And it's baseball for blind kids with a little with a ball with a sound in it, so the kids can know where it is and hit it. And it's like you get to feel that this is some of the best parts of his life. It reminds me of this true thing I saw of this guy who had a near-death experience, right, in Israel. And he basically went to heaven, and he saw what was going down, and he became super ultra orthodox religious after he survived. But he was talking about the experience. He talks about it in detail, and he talks about when he sees his life, and he sees his things he's done in his life, which are like these sins, and he didn't realize that they were really sinful at the time. They thought it was normal, but then he sees good things he's done. Like one time he went to a cemetery, and he saw it was dirty. He went to visit a relative, saw all these graves were dirty, so he just went and started cleaning them off. And it just became a thing that he did, right? It just became a thing that he did. And the way he talks about it said, "That thing saved me. That was the most important moment of my life," right? So the same sort of thing with him coaching the baseball. But again, I love the three-dimensionality of it, right? And the way you get into the motivations of people, how you understand the people and the characters within it. In Sopranos, again, you ever saw it? There's a Tony Soprano bumps off a good friend of his, I think in the second season. And then he has post-traumatic stress about it. Like he dreams of fish waking up and talking to him, and then somebody a little bit later, if you remember the 90s, remember the 2000s, the Billy Bass things, these fish you put on walls and you would press a button, they would sing, right? So somebody gives it to him, and he just had that dream of the fish talking to him, makes him so mad he smashes it over his head repeatedly, like the guy said. And you don't understand his motivation, but you do hear it, and they do the same kind of storytelling stuff here. I don't want to tell you about it because I don't want to spoil it, right? I don't want to spoil it because it's totally worth seeing. So the reason I think a lot of people going into this is to see the Sopranos again. Again, it's really authentic Sopranos, but to see the Sopranos again when they're young. And so they got rid of all the cast they had in the flashback, and they brought in, let's say, a more expensive cast. So you got, was it Curry Stoll, who's freaking awesome. I love it as Uncle Junior. Who ends up playing a far more pivotal role in the thing. And you get to see how stupid little things change the world. Change things fundamentally, change things on a real primal level. John Blumenthal as Tony Soprano's father, and Vera Farmiga, I've never heard of her before, as Liv Soprano. These are, again, major characters in the TV show. You saw them in flashback. And interesting, when you saw it in flashback before, you saw it from Tony's point of view as his father, so it's always really kind of positive. Here it's a little bit more honest, and you just get to see how Johnny Soprano and Liv, his wife, are a perfect couple. Liv is always portrayed as a terrible person with serious mental problems, right? And you see how really they are a perfect couple. And then you get to see your old favourites from the Sopranos. You got Paulie Walnuts. Who's playing Paulie Walnuts? He was the best one. Billy Magnuson. So I just saw him again in No Time to Die. He was great in this. As Paulie Walnuts. I really felt like I was watching him. Not so much this guy who John Magagro who plays Sylvie. It seems like he's playing a role. Big Pussy's in it, but you don't really see him, don't really see him that much. So yeah, look, for me, I think this is a recommend if you've seen The Sopranos, or if you haven't seen it. If you have seen The Sopranos, it's a must see, right? If you have seen The Sopranos, it's an absolute. You have got to see this movie. It's worth the $15 for HBO Max for the month. If you haven't seen Sopranos, it's a superior gangster movie, which gives you, I would say, a very realistic and three-dimensional characters that are which are very bad people, but are very layered and have, it's an interesting exercise in character building. So yeah, for me, this is a strong recommend. Very glad I got my subscription HBO Max just to watch this. But again, I also got Dune, I got all the other stuff. If you haven't, listen, if you get your subscription to get this, go and binge watch Sopranos. It's freaking awesome. I watched it a couple of years ago and went through the whole thing. It's as good. It hasn't aged at all. It's as good today as it was then. The interesting thing though, like Sopranos is like 20 years old now, so. And then this is about 20 years before The Sopranos. So, it's amazing how things have aged. In closing, I have to say, I just hope they do more of these, right? I hope they do more. Love it. Absolutely love it. Fantastic. Strong recommend. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you are notified when new videos drop.